Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's working. I got a lot of stars on my jacket this morning. I am. I am having coffee. That should kick us off, shouldn't it? Wow. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Abby Hagyard. If you can hear the buzzing that's going on in here, it's not actually in here. They're doing some renovations in one of the other apartments, and it either sounds like giant killer hornets or some kind of megalithic argument between T-Rex and somebody else. So mostly it's good. Usually when I'm doing the video, it's a little bit distracting. So I'm going to keep my focus on you. So I'm Abby Hagyard, and this is episode 230. Good morning, Freddie. This is episode 230 in this series of Abby World videos. And the reason I began to do them a couple of years ago now, twice a week, every week, God willing and the creek don't rise, is because I wanted to create a conversation place. I wanted to set up an opportunity for us to be discussing things, stuff, whatever. And it gradually, it wound its way through all kinds of, I'm not really sure why I'm doing it, but I'm going to keep on doing it because it's cool. And then I realized what I was actually doing was I was illustrating and discussing and sharing different components of this life style, this life hack, this life focus that I'm bringing into reality, called Pivotry in Motion. And I came up with the idea of pivotry as a way to separate what we need to do with our brain before we can put anything else in gear. When people say pivot, lean in, do this, do that, okay. However, it's not a it's I'm not a robot. You just pushing the button doesn't do it. I need to somewhere in here buy in. I need to let go of what I was focused on and see that it's not working for me now in this moment, in order that I can take hold of the next thing, the current thing that has more power, more potential, more outcome. And so I said, okay, a pivot is physical. A pivot is okay. We all know what a pivot is. So let's say that the way we think and the way we feel and the way we choose is more creative. It's more strategic. So let's do with the language what everybody does. Poetry, wine, winery. Let's add something to the end of it. So pivotry is a concept. It's a decision. It's a creative selection. This, not that. This later, this now kind of thing. And the reason I added in motion is that we are, all of us, all the time, molecules, everything banging off each other and falling over and getting back up and saying, whoa. So pivotry in motion is where our brains are. When everything that was going great all of a sudden isn't, and there's another option. There's many other options. I also talk about the way we present ourselves in the world. It's like wearing hats. We got all kinds of different hats. I have many different hats. They go with the shoes. I have many different jackets, and I choose to wear them in order to be a visual reflection of my mood and my attitude. And the reason I decided to wear the star jacket today is because I think today's video and today's concept is a star turn. It's a star move, and I want to share that and get everybody excited about the idea. And where are we here? Unlocking the superhero within. Adrian, thank you for describing pivotry in motion. I was wondering. You're very welcome, Adrian. So the whole idea is this: we do many things. We feel. We have that kind of an energy thing. We have instinct. We have intuition. We have all that. So that's a kind of an amorphous. We don't know what that is. And then we have our emotions, and then we have our thoughts, and then we have our actions. And somewhere in that mix, before the action, we say, yeah, I'm gonna do that. That is our pivotary moment. I'm there. That. Whatever that is inside the head, inside the heart, inside the chakras, whatever it is, the switch is our pivotary moment. Because then once we switch, we know what to do. We know what our next move is. We know what our pivot is. We know where we're going. First, we had to think of it. We had to feel it. We had to want it. And then we had to choose it. And then we get to do it. So I did this thing. And I described it on the little thing before the video. I was doing the grocery list the other day. And I realized that I had written down something twice. And I said, well, we're not gonna buy two of those. So I drew a line through it. And then I finished writing the list. And then when I went to the store, every time I was looking at the list, there was a line through this thing. And I kept saying, yes, we're not getting those today. We are already down the list below it. And so because I'm perfectly capable, if it's written on the list twice, of getting it twice, and then I get it home and I think, why did I buy two of these? So I kept looking at that list. And I thought, you know what? That is actually a really cool idea. Because if we don't strike a thing off the list, we do it, right? That's what the list is for. It's a checklist, and you check it off. You check it off. You check it off. I got bananas. I got grapes. I got cheese. I got meat. I got, you check it off. Well, what happens if we have a list of things that we do that we're not crazy about? And we all have them. When I do something remarkably more mom than Abby, although admittedly, and I say, well, what a good idea that was. Keen but slow. And when I say that and everybody laughs, I laugh. I'm saying it in a way that it's funny, except that I'm making a dig at myself. So, and then if I don't write that down, if I just say it and it becomes a thing that I say and people laugh, oh, I love it when you say that thing. Okay, but it's a thing. It's on my list. And so even though I may not be focused on it, I may not be talking about it or consciously thinking about it, it's in there. It's on the list. What are the chances, given my habit, if it's on the list, I'm going to pick it up and carry it around with me? Exceptional. Why? It's on the list. So I said to myself, I have a plan. What if I make an unchecked list? What if I make a list of all the things that I have, by accident or by design, voiced out in the world? A friend quote, pivot, 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 yes. What if all the things that I have thrown out there into the universe stay? Keen but slow. Not good at math. We shouldn't allow me to cook. What if I don't cross that off? It becomes a thing. Because that's how it works. If you focus on a thing, that's what you get. Henry Ford was famously quoted for saying, whether you something about whatever you say you want, you are, you have, you do. So how do we get rid of it? How do we get rid of it? I mean, I have the later folder, but I'm busy. We are all very busy. And so the later folder, before I leave, and I have it in the car with me. I always have it in the car with me. I have a smaller version in my purse in case I'm walking. And when I leave the house, I write down and start the car. Okay. But I quickly write down something that was kind of bugging me at home. And when I get to my destination, before I leap out of the car and run madly off in all directions, I write down if there was anything that happened during the drive that might be a trigger for something. I write it down. And when I come back from whatever it was I was doing, I keep it right there on the passenger seat beside me. And I write it down if something happened while I was out wherever I was. Why do I do that? I'm writing it down in the later folder so I don't carry it with me. I put it in the later folder to think about later, to when I have time. I take it with me when I know I'm home for the evening. And it's what I review when I'm getting ready to go to bed. I look at the things that concerned me, and I sit and I think and how I feel about them now. Because usually in the moment, we're all worked up because some guy cut us off at a green light or something, and it's obviously a survival hack, but we're still all worked up and we're walking around with all this rage and fear and shock and panic energy. And if we don't write it down, we take that with us into the next thing, and then we infect everybody with it. And so we never get rid of it. It's there all day, toxic all over the place. And we don't need to do that. That's why I read it in the later folder. And then, as I say, I bring the later folder in and I take a look. I'm having my little glass of something or other, and I've done my work, and I'm reading through it, and I'm thinking, huh, that's interesting. I don't feel any of those things now. And so at the end of the page, I write, problem solved. Thank you. Because who I'm thanking is this, is this. I'm thanking all the other things that were better and cooler and sweeter and more challenging, and because I'm grateful that I was nudged out of my focus, um, to be more productive and be more creative and have new things to say. What the hell? So at the end of the day, I'm clearing. I'm clearing it out. Are we good? Yes. Are we good? Yes. Are we good? Yes. Make a note. That particular intersection seems to be a consistent problem. Maybe we can take a different route so I don't have to deal with whatever that happens to be there, because it seems to be every time I go that direction, there's something. So find a workaround, right? And I noticed once I started doing that I had a whole lot more full on 100% enjoyment of each thing, of each experience, of each moment. Because I wasn't dragging I wasn't dragging my garbage around with me saying, I got to drop this stuff off at some point. I I set it aside. I set it aside. And at the end of the day, dropped it off. So with that folder, as I was thinking about this checklist, I thought this is a slightly different thing, because it's not how we're feeling. It's not the mood or the energy that we're pulling away from the previous thing. It's not an idea or an agenda or a priority that we're concerned we're not going to handle well, that we want to write down and just set aside. This is different. Excuse me. I had a long couple of client calls the last couple of days, and my throat is a little tired, overworked. So I said to myself, I know what it's going to do. So I made one to show you. Okay. So I don't know how well you can see it, but it's a typical checklist, right? I'm going to disappear and hold this up for you to look at, right? Okay. So is it showing up clear? You can see it? Okay. So here's what I do. I wrote down every alphabetical word I could think of. And then I wrote in front of it. And I checked the box. Every box is checked. So what I do at the end of the day is I go through my checklist. And in this column here, I write the word without un, and I check it. So this is my uncheck checklist. And instead of allowing all those critical, condescending, angry, rejecting words to think they have a home, I'm saying, sorry, update. So instead of being unable, I am able. Instead of being unavailable, I am available. Instead of being uncaring, you get me. Isn't that cool? And it's easy to do. It's so easy to do. And I was talking to my wizard, my social media wizard, and she said, I need some of those pages. And I said, well, maybe I should make them part of the tools kit. What do you think? The Pivot Tree Tools Kit. Maybe that's something that people, when they want to be part of the whole family thing, they can just download. And she said, I think it's a brilliant idea. Because the later folder is one of them, and the time scheduler is one of them. And the unchecklist is now one of them. And you can use them when and how and as you want. And what they are the physical tools that give us the ability to identify what's wrong. I saw an image the other day on one of the social media channels. Every time I look at it, I saw this image the other day as a drawing of a woman who was quintessentially pear-shaped. And the wording beside it was about the precious gift we have, our body. Our body is our best friend, carries us around, looks after us, fights off disease, provides something for us to hang all our clothes on, gets us from here to there. Why do we keep beating it up? Why do we keep yelling at it and telling it it's not good enough? Why do we look in the mirror and put it down? It's doing its best. It's ours. It's our body. You want to be a different shape? Oh, okay. Why? Are they happy? The person with the shape you think you want, are they happy? Have you asked them? They're not happy. They're not. They're happy. They're no happier than we are. A shape is a shape. It's what we do with it. It's what we choose to do with it. It's how we choose to own it. What I really, really liked about the quote or the whatever it was beside it, it's our body. It's doing its best for us. The least we can do is offer the same consideration and do our best for them, for all this stuff. There's some mornings when I get up and I look in the mirror and I think, oh, maybe I should sleep a different way. But I don't say, oh my God, look at what it is disgusting. I don't say anything like that. This is what came in the box that my life was in. As my dad used to say when I was a little kid, it's not there. And it's that charming thing that we do when we're kids. And my dad said, I want to talk to you. Oh. Okay. Yes, Daddy. He said, I want you to think about this. Nowhere on the box that our life comes in, nowhere on the box, anywhere, does it say contents fair. Oh. So, it's really funny. He must have said that to me when I was 8 or 10. And I use it today. I still use it when people say, it's not fair the way this is happening. Fair has nothing to do with anything. Fair doesn't, what do you mean by fair? it's not fair skies and following seas, I'll tell you that. What you're saying is there is an inequity. It is somehow wrong that this should be happening. Yeah, but that's only your point of view. That's just a tiny little window. You looking at it thinking, that's not fair. You go around over here and it's abundantly fair. You go around the other side and it's a lottery win. It, subjective is subjective, not fair. So one of the things that I do when I'm talking to my clients is I say this: we need to use tangible terms that everyone understands in a similar way if we're going to have a conversation that means anything. If somebody says, you look this or that, that's from their perspective. That's what they felt when they looked at us. The next person could be saying, oh my God, also subjective. Those are personal points of view. They're not tangible. They're not real. They're painful to hear. Nobody likes to be told that we don't measure up, that we're somehow not enough. And so we need to have the tools available to say, I don't even know what you mean by that. We need to have the guts to say that, because I don't know what you mean by that. Well, because they don't either. Well, means they don't either. They just said it. Now they have to think about it. So what can you say it in a different way so I'll understand it? Can you use a different word? Because I don't know what you mean. Now they have to think, instead of, if life was fair, we'd all be trillionaires. I don't know about that. Oh goodness. They didn't think, they just spoke. Okay, so if they didn't think, then it was an emotional knee-jerk rage, kind of fear, kind of attack, kind of I'm afraid something's going to happen to me. Rah, 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 rah. Most of the time, then, think about this: the random dismissive comments that we hear, that's the presenting symptom of the small yappy dog syndrome. Now, if you when you think of people who single you out, and they either try to bully you or they criticize you, every theater critic I ever knew, for instance, every person who said, I suppose you think that's funny. I do. That's why I did it. If I thought it was boring, I'd have set it aside. So if people are you don't ask their opinion and they give it, and it's okay. Small yappy dog syndrome. And I like small yappy dog syndrome more than the word game, the name game. Because a name that puts people down is part of the problem. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, name. Okay, character. Okay, gender. Okay, see, it dehumanizes us. If we see the rage and we hear the hostility, and we pay attention to what that actually means in the animal part of us, that's the small yappy dog trying to feel, sound, look, be perceived as bigger, and therefore nothing to mess with, because it senses that it's in a place of danger. It senses that it's not okay, that it's not going to make it. And so the best defense is a great offense. That is really all those things are. Okay, then. If that is what those things are when it happens to us, it is what those things are when we do them to us. We are having a small yappy dog moment. It is not us that we're annoyed with. It is some threat perceived to our safety, to our get through this with our wings and our dignity intact. This is a sign that we're not okay. And the reason I think it's so important at the end of a day to sit down with it and go through the later folder and see where we were triggered, see which things we were carrying with us into the next moment, and then look at the words we used to describe ourselves and say, okay, all right, these are not events that are happening to us. None of this stuff is the event that's happening to us. All of it is how we are choosing to deal with it. Reactive people, like small yappy dogs, are triggered by. Responsive people, like humans, who are on top of their game, who do the work every day to get rid of all of the baggage that's invisible, so we stop tripping over it in the middle of the living room going, what the hell? Clear our path, set a fresh page. We are not knee-jerk reacting. We are responding. And quite often, if we're going back to a place we've been before, and we've had some kind of confrontation there, if we're in the right space, in the right place, energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally, we can create a preemptive strategy. We can go in differently. We can take that stop, take that deep breath, do the 5-finger calm us all down, boys and girls. Ready? All right then. Showtime. And we go in owning our moment, owning our space, owning who we are and why we're there. And this really interesting thing happens. It's very interesting. My face says a lot. Yeah, Adrian, mine too. I made a lot of money with my expressions. Not all of them great. A lot of them alarming. This one, especially. So what I think it's really important to do every so often, not all the time, not during the day, not while we're running for the bus. We're busy. But when we have that quiet time, that reflection time, that let's look back at the day and see how that went. We're making our list for tomorrow. I have my notebook right beside me. We can't be 100% present if 80% of us is still looking in the rearview mirror, is still arguing over how smart or crazy or unfortunate that was. Let it go. Is it over? Yes. What if I hang on to it and I chew on it and I worry over it? It's not over. You're bringing it with you. Here she comes again with that thing. Hang on a second. I want to talk about something. It just reminded me. When we come into a moment, any moment, this one, look at the clock. It's almost 10 o'clock. Oh boy. I set everything else aside. I'll get to it when we're done. We are my priority. thee and me. Other stuff has been and will again be a priority, but right now, it's all us, baby. There are times when we're forgiven and times when we need to bring stuff with us that is huge, huge. And the reason these moments are forgiven, these moments are encouraged, is because as a tribe, together, all of us, friends, whether virtual or next door neighbor or gosh, known you for years, we care about each other. I'm okay when you're okay. If you're not okay, then we need to do something about that. That's how this whole tribe connection works. I have an event to go to tomorrow, and I have another 2 events next week. So that's 3. Of the 3, 2 of them I am choosing to go to help people I'm very fond of, who matter a great deal to me, honor and cherish someone they've lost. And the reason I'm going is not because it's expected of me. It's because I know how it feels. I know how it feels. I don't need to hear somebody say the words. It's not the words. Words don't cut it. Doesn't matter what you say. This part of us, the heart, can't hear them. Subconscious brain with all the emotions, the energy, existed long before words. The words are just noises. The reason we go is to stand together. The reason we go is to say, this is ours today. This is ours. Here, let me help you with that. Let me stand with you. A burden shared. A moment to remember, celebrated. How many moments? Oh my gosh. The event tomorrow, the moments, the stories, the crazy outcomes, the laughter, the worry, the issues, all of those memories, bang, I can remember them like they were yesterday. Why? A special friend. So I'm going to be with his kids. I'm going to introduce myself to other members of his family. One of his kids was one of my kids on television. So I get to be there as surrogate mom and absolute real friend. That here, I am able, I am available, I am caring, I am concerned, I am committed, I'm hopeful, I'm happy, I'm involved, I'm engaged. Cross off, uncheck all the negatives. Tomorrow is not about me or any of the things I have ever done that I felt could have been better. Tomorrow is all about celebrating them and their lives and the small overlapping loops around the circle edges where my life intersected theirs. Special moment. So grateful to be able to go. Tears, probably. I will bring Kleenex. The tears are not of sadness. The tears are of joy that I belong to that tribe within our tribe. I will do the same next week for the other people. In this case, I didn't know the loved one, but I'm there for the one I do know. I'm there to say, you and me, kid, let's do this. Big hug. Why? Because we need reinforcements. A very dear friend of mine recently lost someone fast, sick, suddenly, rushed to hospital. Gone very soon. shock, disorientation. You better believe the massive outpouring of people, because the shock echoes and reverberates with all of us. We are in this together. We are all in this together. The thing is, we can't be in it together if we're not present. We can't be in two places at the same time. We can be in 2 or 3 or 47 places in close, quick succession. I have had a lot of people witness me being vertical and then not vertical very quickly, and then vertical again when they pick me up. Mere seconds. What was that? But it wasn't simultaneous. Our delusion and illusion that we can multitask is something somebody told us we can do. They were wrong. We can do it. The outcome is less than could have been. So my conversation today about correcting something that gets in our way, correcting something toxic that stays and stays and stays and sticks and gets embedded in us and is reflected in all the things we do. You know what it becomes? It becomes a thing. Have you ever heard anybody talk about a gambler's tell? A gambler's tell is a little physical tick, a little movement that gamblers make when they're happy or sad, about to lie, or whatever. And it's not just for gamblers. We all do it. We all have giveaway signals for the next thing that's coming. Body language experts have said, when you're lying, you look one way or the other. When you're distracted, we have Freudian slips in our language. These are all telltale signs. These are all giveaways that we are presenting as one thing. However, our agenda is something else. And my goal today in our conversation is to say to us, reminding me and informing you that we can't remember everything consciously front of brain because there's no room. It doesn't mean it's not there. It means we can't see it. It's like when you back the car into the garage and you back over the bicycle. You left it there and then you drove away, and when you came back in, you forgot that you left it there, and you were only reminded that you left it there when you drive over it, and everything goes crunch and you think, right? How do we remember? Write it down. When I do live shows, and when I have done live shows, and I include in that sketches for television because it's live with each other for camera, people are often amazed when I can quote back years and years and years later. I can quote back fairly substantial sections of the thing that I did. And the reason I can do that is the way I memorize. The way I memorize, the way I write, the way I prepare myself is that I think it, or I read it, and then I write it down. I write it down. As I'm writing it down, I'm looking at it, and then I read it out loud. And now it's in there. And I know where it is. All I have to do is let go of all the other distractions using the later folder, using the unchecked list. And when I let go of all the other things, the thing I want to remember, the thing that I used my training to learn and keep and retain, comes into the present. There it is. All I have to do is not mess it up, just open my mouth and out it comes. And when I've been coached and prodded and threatened by my directors to do it this way, how you do it is as automatic as how you say it. Absolutely every time. Is it a mind-numbing task? Yes, you have to learn every word, one word at a time. over and over and over until you own it. When do I do tasks like that? When I'm driving on the highway. Not in traffic, but I'm driving on the highway and I'm here like this, and I'll recite it. Make a note of when I miss a spot. These are all training tactics. These are training techniques. These are training tools that we're not taught as kids. Normally, we are taught how best to get most of food off the plate onto the fork into the mouth without wearing it. That's what we're taught. We're taught how to tie our shoes. We're taught how to not fall downstairs. I think I was sick that day. We are taught how to engage, how to cope, how to be part of, how to live in our familiar setting. All this other extraneous stuff, all of the specialized skills, we're not taught, we're not shown, we're not guided, we're not rehearsed, we're not coached. That's why I'm doing Pivotry in Motion. That's why I'm loving this project more and more and more every day. Because in the pandemic period of time, everything we thought we knew about the normal basic coping skills, how to get the food off the fork and into the mouth in a public setting, all those rules changed. How we park the car, where we go, what we wear when we're out in public, how many people we hug and kiss on any given day. All of those rules, which were our basic, normal, everyday coping mechanisms, were suddenly, possibly, maybe unhelpful. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, with all kinds of other things going on, brand new, and all our other normal stuff going on every day, we had a whole new set of things to have to try to understand and remember and do. What? And many of us struggled. Many of us still struggle. I was talking to one of my just favorite people. She's just awesome, really. We were chatting yesterday, and she said, we're going away for a few days. When we're back, we need to get together. It's been too long. We've just kind of been hibernating. And I said, I know. And she said, it's just all too much. We don't even want to go out because it's too much. And I said, I know. And she said, how are you doing it? And I said, well, I have a few little tips and tricks and tools. And she said, well, you need to show them to me because I'm not liking this. She's normally this fabulous, and she is normally and otherwise fabulous, bubbly, effervescent people person. So is her guy. They're fabulous. They're amazing. And they've basically hunkered down because every time they leave the house, they find themselves face to face with something that triggers unhappy and anxious and sad and tired and not having any fun. So they go home. At least at home, where they're together, they can find comfort in each other, in their beautiful, beautiful space. That's no way to live. I mean, it's wonderful to have that space and have each other and have that experience. Shutting the world out is no way to live, though. Not wanting to go out because it's costing too much is no way to live. And I said, you know what? We'll do lunch. I'll talk. You'll listen. And she said, oh, is it ever any other way than that? I said, well, you see, you're feeling better. All of a sudden, there you are. You're feeling better. And I said, no, we need to talk. I'll talk to you about some stuff I'm doing. And she said, I can't wait. Good. Thank you. Big hug. Big hug back. Nobody's having the fun they used to have. Why not? Well, they've been distracted by something and they forgot to pick up the tools they used to use, or they've forgotten how to use them, or they haven't given themselves permission to breathe and say, okay, write it down, later folder, moving on. Because I'm not a genius, I'm not naturally good at this. I'm learning. somebody I was reading, there's this whole movement about manifesting. And I was reading two things. One was, I've been manifesting every morning. Should I be doing it another time a day? No, darling. No. How are you manifesting? You're holding your breath? Poor guy. And the other one was someone reminding me, I love this. The way people achieve an outcome is two things. You set it, you own it, you honor it, and then you set it free. To do what it's going to do. Set it, honor it, acknowledge it, love it, set it free. How do you set it? Easy. I am this. I am this. Whatever this is. I am this. And it's amazing. Thank you. Set it free. What I do at the end of the day, every day, that's when I say it. After I've done all my review of everything, it's the last thing I say. I am this. And then I go to sleep. And I let sleep knit the raveled sleeve of care and get to work doing it. I'm asleep. Because the other thing that happens that we don't realize is that if we need a chocolate ice cream, all that frantic pushes everything away. Have you noticed? People were rocking a boat when my dog would get on my waterbed. Everything's very busy. Nothing can come. There's too many ripples going on, too much stuff going on, too many conflicting things going on. Nothing can come. Nothing can come. So the harder we do that, the more intently we say, I need a chocolate ice cream, the farther away it goes, because it can't get near you. Think about the unchecked list. Give it a try. You can just go to a grocery store. They sell these, or you can go to a dollar store or something, and they sell these checklists, grocery list things. Pick up that. Use that if you don't want on it right now. Use that. Write the thing down, and then draw a line through it. Pretty cool, huh? I love these hacks. I love these tools because they give me a process to work through. And having a process is so comforting. It gives you a sense of, you can see it's 11 steps, and here I am, step number 7. It's a famous economist, Edwards Deming, quoted back during the Roosevelt years. If you can't define what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. And when I read that years and years ago, I thought, yes, that's exactly right. So we are in process, my lovelies. We are in process from I have no idea to, oh, look at this. That is our pivotry in motion process, thee and me. And every single day, some new little thing comes along, and we look at it and say, oh, well, I wasn't doing that yesterday. Cool. Bit by bit by bit. All right. So I have, as I say, a couple of very, very touching and important things to do in the next couple of days. And the weekend is upon us. And in our tiny corner of the world, the weather can't decide who it is. Today it's above freezing. Tomorrow it's going to be 10 degrees below freezing. Poor Mother Nature. There. So, dress accordingly. Wear socks, whatever, wear socks. Other stuff too, please. And be good to you. Whatever it is that you have on your agenda, remember that you are always with you. You are your best, closest, first, immediate person. This package we come in is our best friend. And we deserve the stuff that makes us feel all right then. Okay? Promise. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll check in with each other next week. Okay. So be good to you because you deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. No matter how ornery and cranky and confused they are your loved ones and they love you back. So hug them. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.